Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is Friday, January 3rd. Before we get into it, let's just take care of a little bit of business. Uh, News for today, we have 10 o'clock news. We're going to have Ward's total vehicle sales going off all day at different times for the different manufacturers. We are going to have an FOMC member, Barkin, speaking at 11 o'clock. Uh, for their first Friday, outlook of the year in Maryland. So who knows if that'll anything to come up, but it's just something to be of note that as volatile as the market is, uh, you know, one wrong sentence or one right sentence out of there could send the market, 100 points in any direction within minutes, potentially. So keep that in mind. Uh, that kicks off at 11. So next week, to title my videos, next week is another 4-day week, and I'm sure most of you guys watch financial news. I do not watch financial news. I just get my news, here and there, basically mainly data. I just want to know when data is going to be released, what the news events. I don't want to hear anyone opining on, what they think about the data or what they think the data is going to be. It's just, doesn't do you any favors. But when I was scrubbing for next week, uh, the market is closed next Thursday, as most of you probably already know. I did not until like 2 days ago uh, for the Carter's National Day of Mourning. So futures will be open Wednesday night as they normally do, but they're going to close when the opening bell should be ringing. So at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time or 8:30 a.m. Central Time, the futures will close for the day. The stock markets will not open, and then they'll kick back open again on uh, Thursday evening at 6 like they normally would. But anyone who has any options that are set to expire on Thursday, January 9th, they're going to use the settlement of Tuesday, January 8th for the, most of them. The index options and the futures options, I think, are going to go off the 8:30 expiration, but, you know, if you play those, you'll want to check. My advice is to, if you have any of those open, just get rid of them. Uh, and then go from there. They're obviously not worth what they were, the paper where they were written on anymore for that other day. So we've taken care of business. So let's get into some technicals. As we look at this was the election, right? On November 5th, we come up, and that's what started the gap up. You had a little bit of retest, and then you ran, right? So basically, we had a little bit of a gap up, kind of petered out. So rebased on 10 days later, not 10 sessions, but 10 days on November 15th. And then we ran up into December 13th. And then, the Fed came out 2 days later on the 15th. And then, we started retracement down. So the reason I'm bringing this up is if you look at the ES, right, it undercut all of the lows that from that election pop. It didn't take out the election day, but all the post-election stuff, it undercut all of those lows yesterday. The Nasdaq would have to get under 20,677 to do the same thing, to undercut all the lows post-election. And if you look at the lows of interest to me, anyways, and I might put a line on this. If you connect the lows, they've got a downtrend on the lows, which is, something we haven't seen in a while. And potentially you're in a downtrend channel. We'll have to see. It's you're really trying to make something out of nothing by noticing that, but it is, a potential. As we know, this was the sell point for when we were buying and wanting to go long and start looking for longs in October of 2022, right? This is the target area for all that shit, right? So we there is potential for a rollover that's a little bit deeper of a pullback from this area. It doesn't mean that we'll get it, but the potential is here, and we are seeing a little bit of weakness. And keep in mind that major pullbacks usually go quick. They're usually uh, like 13, 14 weeks to like a quarter, right, to 6 months at the most, depending on how deep they are. Uh, and then the uptrend is slow, steady, and climbing. So we'll watch to see if you get anything. But of note, I think you'd really have to start making progress below and look for some shorts. But uh, basically, I think fair value, the way I'm looking at it at this point in time, fair value was right around uh, before the election, right? And we've kind of just returned to that. That's my thinking at this point in time until we, see something else. But I just want you to be aware of that. There is a potential that this is a longer term top that has been put in. Just throwing that out there as we're looking at stuff today. Overnight action for the ES 30 and a half points. And if we look at all of the indexes, we're in value for all of them. Value is a little bit on the larger side. Uh, and then we could potentially just stay inside of yesterday's range. Uh, in the overnight, it's been pretty lackluster. Uh, so I'm just going to play it safe. I'm not going to look for a whole lot. I'm going to, until proven otherwise, I'm going to think that, value area high and value area low are potentially near the extremes. Uh, Not that I'm going to fade them, but if I am in a long, I'll probably exit, in this red block somewhere. And if I'm in shorts, I'll probably exit in these green blocks somewhere and then wait and sit on my hands and see what sets up next. Then turn to look at the internals and the VIX to see if it's confirming that we should, keep going lower or keep going higher. Uh, Again, this is the point after we've had the two large expirations. We had the one on Tuesday, the year-end expiration. That quarterly expiration was a big expiration. This is a window that we can do something with. And keep in mind that earnings, uh, you start getting some trickle in the end of next week, but really it's the week after that, I think, when the banks start reporting. So I think, the trail end of next week is when those earnings will be. So until then, potentially, as always, because there's no catalyst, we can sell volatility, right? But because we are kind of in a vacuum positioning wise, we can get a reset. So, play for, you know, not much until the market proves otherwise. And this not much that I'm talking about has been very fruitful, right? We're in negative gamma. These ranges are much bigger than they were before, even as the market's just doing nothing. So, enjoy the range. If you take one good leg up or down today, I would call it a day. I would not look for continuation later in the day. Uh, it could happen, but you're just probably flirting with disaster at that point. I hope this helps you guys have a great day, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.